Good morning, Peter Pan. How are you?
Good morning, mate. How are you? Thank you for inviting me to another coffee.
Have you got one?
I do. I just made it. There it is. Oh, you're having one too. Very nice.
Got a Turkish coffee today.
Yes, same.
Good on you, mate. You're looking well. I think you've lost some weight. Good on you.
I have. I've lost 4.5 kilos, almost 5 kilos now. I've got a bit of a color because we're allowed to roam free up here, so it's range free, whereas Victoria is in lockdown. So people have been saying that I've got a bit of color on me. So because I've been walking every day.
Good on you, mate. That's impressive. Well done.
It is. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you for joining me this morning. And I want to talk about a specific subject today, if you don't mind. I want to talk about splits.
Perfect.
And I'll try and explain what I mean by splits. As you know, splits are unique to the gyms group, and it's just an added feature to the franchise agreement, where basically when you've got a handful of customers, also known as a round of cleaning regulars, you can offer that for sale, and then from the sale proceeds, we split the money 80-20. So the selling person gets 80% of the proceeds, and in general, a split usually should be worth a minimum of at least $5,000 more than a new vacant territory. So there's some really good profit to be made in that, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And a round would be considered preferably with $1,000 worth a week of regular clients, right? And I think at the moment, the average regular house clean Australia-wide is around about $100 per visit is the average price, I think. Give or take, some areas are a bit more. I think Canberra's a little bit more than that, but in general, it's about $100. So if you're looking for $1,000 worth of regular clients per week, theoretically, it's only like 10 clients.
Yes.
So basically, a very simple thing to collate together. And how hard can it be to get 10 clients together? It can't be that hard.
It's not. And some people do a very good job of getting those clients very early in the piece.
Yes.
And you are right. I mean, I think in Sydney, the average client is around about that $100 to $110 worth of per visit. So, and you are right. I split because even though you still have pay for work guarantee, because you are starting off with customers, you are that one step further to getting the amount of money that you require, because you don't have to rely purely on leads. You get all your equipment, you do all your training, you go out on the road, and the first week that you work, you've got that $1,000 straight into your pocket. Whereas others go out there, they have to go and quote, they have to go and do the work, they get the job, they don't get the job, and so on. So it really is a good springboard to getting started. And the guys that do this well, Haydar, can get a split happening within, well, anywhere from 3 to 6 to 9 months from starting. You know, they are ready to get going, depending on the area that you're in, of course. So it's a cash injection that comes, which you can, because you then have less customers. Before you start to build up, you can take your wife for a holiday. You can buy a new car. You can do so many things, because you basically have half that money you've invested coming back to you within that 3 months, 6 months, or 9 months back in your pocket. Because you are right. I mean, I can give you some figures. Like let's say a normal franchise is worth 35. You buy it with customers anywhere from 38 to 40. You're still going to have the same amount of start package included in that split that you paid when you came into the system. So once you take that away, and I think for us it's about $8,000 to $8,500, depending on the equipment that we put into it. What's left after that? And if it was 35 and we took that away, it'd be 27. 20% goes to gym, which is about $5,400. The rest of the money's in your pocket. You've got half that money coming straight back at you.
So it's fair to say anywhere from say 15,000 to about 20,000 is a realistic figure.
Absolutely, absolutely, 100%.
Just on that point, if it was $15,000 profit
Yes.
on a split,
Yeah.
if you had one employee, a full-time employee, it'll basically take you about 2.5 years to save $15,000. Because some people say to me, I'd rather employ people and expand my business that way, which is not a bad theory, but if you focus your energies on doing splits and you get that cash injection, I mean, the amount of money that you're going to make, it's just so much simpler. And I don't know, employing staff is not an easy exercise. I mean,
mate,
I remember.
You've employed staff.
Yeah, my first business before gyms was exactly that, where I had staff, and mate, that was a nightmare.
Yeah.
You know, where they don't turn up or they're running late, and all the problems always ended up on my shoulders. It wasn't easy. So the splits is probably the way to go, without a doubt, I reckon. And sorry, what we've done now is we've actually added splits into our initial induction training. So we talk about that even before the franchisees begin.
Perfect.
And the reason I do that is I'd like people to put that into their forward planning, so you know they can sort of, it's at top of mind, and they can sort of get onto doing a split quicker than if they weren't planning for it.
Yes.
And in the days where we weren't mentioning it, you know, 2 years would pass, and then they'd say, "Oh, that's right, Haydar said to do splits," and then by then it's just so long.
Yes.
So we've kind of added it.
Yeah, and I tell you what happens, Haydar. So with me, I mean, one of my best split guys that I've ever had did 7 splits in 2.5 years. Okay, so this guy here, it literally took me 2 years plus to get him to do his first one, because it was, you know, the things that we were getting back from him were, oh, I love my customers. My customers love me. I've got workers. And then he'll, you know, a week later he'll complain, oh, this worker did this and I got a complaint. Well, yeah, because you're hiring people. Unless you're there supervising, they will give you grief with maybe doing the job quicker, maybe going there, spending 2 hours and doing 1 hour of work. I'm sick. I've got a toothache. I've got to go and pick up the kids. I've got to go home for the, you know, there's so many excuses. And I've had staff like you. When I had taxis in Melbourne, I had staff. I had one guy that had 3 accidents in 9 months. It almost had me broke. Wow. You know, so you can't rely on staff. If you're lucky, and I'm not saying everyone, because look, you can find someone that's going to be exactly like you. He's going to be, you know, his time management is going to be there. His cleaning skills are going to be there. But I tell you what, out of every 100 that you're going to try, you might get 1 or 2, maybe 5, maybe 10. A split is a way of, another way that I look at it as well is, let's say, because you start off from nothing, you start working and you've got an area of about, say, 20-kilometer radius from your territory. What you can do is, if you've got 3, 4, 5 jobs in a certain area, you can concentrate getting regulars in that area, and you sell that as a package, which means then you're not running 20 Ks to those jobs. You're getting all the other work after that close to where you are.
Correct.
You know, this guy was so good at getting those splits happening that after he did his first one. Sorry.
Let's do some sums. You said he sold 7 splits in 2.5 years.
Yes,
on
he did.
average, what would be the profit margin on each split, do you think?
Okay, with him, he did some cheaper ones because they were friends that he was putting on. So I think that the cheapest one that he made profit on was 15,000, and the most was 20 out of those. So if you look on average,
say 15 times 7, you work that out. That's a pretty healthy number. And you know, to try and earn that, to try and earn that from just doing cleaning work alone, I mean, it's not rocket science, is it?
No, it's not. And you know what? Like, I mean, when you look at those numbers, Haydar, that's you know, even if you're doing $2,000 a week of work, that's $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
If you take expenses out, you probably and the GST, you probably only make about 75, 80,000 maybe, you know, out of all that. You've done that in just splits. And because you haven't lost your, you know, your business, you can, all you do is turn on. I mean, I look at FMS and I tell you what, we are so lucky that we've got FMS because we're probably one of the few companies in franchising that we can work FMS like a tap. You want water, you turn the tap on, you get water. You've had too much water for the day, you turn it off, you get nothing else. We're not going to call you and say, hey, listen, Haydar, you need to go and take this job because otherwise we're going to tell the customer that we can't service him. You know what? We say that 160,000 times per year that we can't service. We don't make anything about it. We actually say to people, hey, this is why you need to come to gyms and do this, because we've got so many customers that we can't handle. So building up again for that second split, you take some of those 160,000 customers, you build that up in no time. Very, very quick, you know.
I agree, mate. Definitely agree. That is really good advice. Okay, so since we added it to induction training, what that did, it sped things up a bit, you know, made it top of mind to the franchisee. So when he did his planning, he was ready to do that from a quick period. And I think your region holds the record for the quickest split that was signed.
Yep.
Do you want to tell us what that period was? 3 months.
It was 3 months. Okay, so that was a young Chinese guy, started with me, and I came down to training with him, and it was before you started mentioning it in our training, but he heard something about splits when Michael was doing part of his training at the main auditorium. And we stopped for dinner one night and we started talking, and I said, you know, he said, oh, what's this split? He goes, it means I have to sell half of my business. I said, well, yes and no. You sell your customers, but not half of your business. Your business is still your business. Anyway, and I said, mate, when you go back, let's talk some more over the next couple of days and when you start, and let's see how quickly you can do one. And that sort of spurred him on. And you're right, having it at the beginning when they do the training, when the mind is fresh and they're taking in, their mind, you know, when they come to training is like a sponge. They're taking so much information, sometimes a lot, and they'll forget things, but things that stick in there, if they hear it from you, they hear it from Michael, and then they come back to here and I'm talking about it, all of a sudden they become engrossed in that sort of conversation. They're thinking, oh, well, maybe this is a good idea because I'm not losing my business and I can make a cash injection into my business very, very quickly.
True. I think
he took 3 months.
That is a phenomenal effort, mate. Well done. I don't think everyone realizes, and they're probably under the assumption that when you do a split, you need to give up some of your territory. And I think the wording in the contract is written up that way. But with, as Jim's Cleaning, we're just still at the early stages of our business. We've got so much territory. There's no reason why a franchisor wouldn't give a new territory to the new person coming in. Isn't that right? I don't think I've heard anywhere where we've had to split the territory, unless they had a big territory initially. Because on average now, a Jim's Cleaning territory is about 2,500 households. Whereas maybe 15 years ago, you know, we did give territories where they're maybe 10,000 or 11,000 at the time, where they don't even need that anymore. So, look, I mean,
I think, and you're right, Haydar, because our system is made up where, I mean, people always ask me, what is the best territory that I can have? Well, there is no best, because I've done a lot of research from FMS, and let me tell you, I've got a very large area in Sydney. I have looked at every single suburb from mine because I do regular reporting, and the most that one of my territories will produce in terms of new leads per year is 50 to 60 leads. You can't survive on that. Our system is so unique that even though you've got that, I say to some of the guys when they ask me the question now, and it's a bit cheeky, I said, mate, give me a PO box and I'll make more money than you. I don't need a whole territory. I just need PO box 000 at the post office, and that can be my territory, and I will still make more money than you because I can use the system to my advantage. And that's not by cheating. That's by putting in my areas and putting in the work that I want to do and everything else, and I can still build up a business from one letterbox. It doesn't have to be big. So I think every single franchise split that I've done up here, I'm trying to think if there was one that we split the territory. No, there wasn't. Every single split that I've done, I've given new territory. Every single one. And I've probably done about 30, 40 maybe in that time.
Correct. You don't need to. I think Jim's Mowing ran out of territory or real estate, whatever you might call it. We're still in the early stages. We've got a long way to go yet. And we were talking a couple of weeks ago where you said your franchisees considered packaging up some customers each and putting it together and becoming one split where they didn't have to provide the whole amount.
Yes. Now, what I did, and that happened. It happened probably 2.5 years ago. My first one, I sort of had a bit of a brainwave. I mean, this lady wanted to do a split, and she only had, I think she had about 5 customers, which she wanted to get rid of. The other ones, and it's that same old thing. You know, I love my customers. The customers love me. I don't want to get rid of those. Okay, that's fine. And I never begrudge anyone wanting to come and clean the office at Jim's Cleans, for instance, because I love the people that they go to clean for. And I said to her at the time, I said, okay, look, I said, give me some time. I've got another lady that I know wants to do one and also has about that many. And obviously the questions are, can I trust her? Is she going to give me the money? The same from the other lady. I said, well, yes, because I control the money. They pay into my account. At the end of 10 days, I'll split whatever it is in 10 days. And it's a small amount because all the expenses come out. I think for them, it was like $1,000 each. And at the end of 45 days, because that's something else that everyone needs to understand, is that money doesn't come to your pocket straight away. You know, once you've started, because there are processes that we need to follow. You will get some money in 10 days, and then you'll get the remainder in 45. At the end of 45 days, they got, that was a good split actually, because the customers that they sold were both commercial and domestic, and they got $10,500 each.
How good's that?
They were wrapped, absolutely wrapped. So, and again, because I give new territory, they both did not lose their territory.
Correct.
So
good work.
And just one other thing that just come to mind, Haydar, like in my region, what I've also done, I mean, because sometimes people say, oh, look, I've moved house and I'm now traveling too far to go. And if I can use Melbourne as an example, let's say the territory was the office, and they say, look, I've just moved to I don't know, Heidelberg. I don't want to go out that far anymore, so I want to work around Heidelberg. When I do the split, I don't know if you know, you can also transfer the splitting franchisee's territory to the new one, and the guy buying buys the office one. So I've done that quite a few times, where they've gone from the south of the city because they moved, and they've taken a franchise in the north of the city. So very good. That can also happen, and that does not cost anything, because while we're doing that split, we can then transfer. Yes, he has to get new registration for business, so there is some cost involved. About, I think, all up about $400. No, less than that. Sorry, it's about $260, because he has to get new business cards, because it has to show Heidelberg instead of Camberfield, and the registration has got to show Jim's Cleaning Heidelberg instead of Jim's Cleaning Camberfield. So those two minor costs are nothing, you know, compared in the whole context.
True, definitely agree. Okay, so your region holds the record for the quickest split, which is 3 months, but unfortunately, your region doesn't hold the record for the most expensive split. And the most expensive split we had was over 10 years ago. It was for $185,000. So, and the reason for that, Peter, is the differences in value is obviously the turnover of the business. This particular split had, I think it was 3,000 or 4,000 a week turnover, and it was all commercial, and it was already staffed, so the person buying it actually didn't have to do the work. They just managed the staff and so on and so forth, you know. So there's many ways you can do this.
Yes,
And we're not just bounded by that extra, 5,000 off a vacant territory. The price could be anything you want. The more
absolutely.
attractive the business is, obviously, the more it's worth.
Yes.
And 7 splits for the one franchisee, that's a pretty good effort as well. I don't know, that's probably some sort of record as well, I think.
I think the last time I heard, I think that is also a record. I was asking Jim at one stage, and he's never heard of anyone doing 7 splits in 2.5 years. But that one there, I've got to say, it would be close to it. If it's not a record, it would be very close to a record.
That is fantastic.
Yes.
Beautiful. All right, I think we've covered most things there. I mean, we do have a splits manual
Yes.
available in the hub at the back of our website. I mean,
Yes.
every franchise is up to speed with all of this. So any franchisee that wants to consider doing a split should have a chat with their franchisor, or
Yes.
ultimately definitely email me or give me a call. That's fine. Really, it's something that everyone should consider, and at least to do 1 or 2 per year for themselves, which will just diversify their income and obviously increase their income, because it's lump sum payments, which as soon as you make the sale, like you said, just rebuild the territory and off you go again.
And I think, look, the other thing they need to consider, like, I mean, for instance, I mean, everyone says to me, how much work can I do on my own? And I think, in all fairness, if you did around the 1,800 to 2,400, for a lot of people, that's going to be the maximum time that you're going to be able to work. Otherwise, you're working too many hours. And you've got a job then. You haven't got a business that you're running, because if you're going to do those sort of hours, go somewhere and work overtime, basically. The way I look at it is, let's say, for instance, you are doing that 1,800 per week. It's about 90 grand a year. Okay.
Yeah.
Imagine doing a split during that time. So that first year, you've made your 90,000, you do a split and you pick up another 20. It's already 110. Yes, correct. you haven't got the customers because you've just sold them, but then you pick up new ones, because if you target your leads around about our spring to May time, when we've got an abundance of leads, you're going to build up very, very, because you've got the experience, you know how to quote by then. It's easy to build up customers 6 months, 9 months into your franchise than it is on day one of your franchise. So that's the benefit. You can build up so quickly. That money could even be spent on if you're going to, on your tax bill, for instance, or your chemicals for the whole year. So basically your 90,000 becomes tax-free, because your split has just paid for all that. Yeah, there are so many benefits to that.
I agree. It's a no-brainer. And the Jim's mowing guys have worked this out years ago, and in some ways it's a secret of their success.
Yes.
1,800 franchisees, probably 80–90% of them have come from buying a split.
From splits, yes.
So we're actually the other way around, where Jim's cleaning most of our sales are new sales. So imagine we added splits on top of those new sales. We're just going to double our growth rate.
Absolutely.
Which is basically the name of the game. We want to keep growing our business,
Absolutely. Yep.
Anyway,
absolutely.
That's fine. I won't hold you up too much. Just so you know, we're just about to launch in Canada. So I want you to congratulate me on that. I think that's a very good effort on our behalf of the team here.
Definitely a big effort. And if you pay for my ticket, I'll come over there and I'll help you launch it.
Deal. No, it's already taken care of. We've got some really good players up there. They're going to take the reins and make it happen. But I can definitely take you there for a holiday if you're interested.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, good on, mate. I'll let you go. I know you're a busy man.
All right.
We'll chat next week, okay?
Perfect. Perfect. Have a good one. Stay safe down there. I'm hoping that they will lift the stupid border so I can come down.
No worries, mate.
All right.
I'll see what I can do.
No worries. Thank you so much. See you. We'll do. No worries. Bye now.